Hello everybody, so I'm pretty sure by now everyone has heard of the recent 4chan attack. But for those that don't know, recently 4chan was compromised by a user on Soyjack Party, which is another image board site, of course, where all the Wojaks come from. But the hacker was able to get root access, and from what I'm hearing also this hacker was 13 years old, which is really funny considering that 4chan is nearly 22 years old, being made in 2003. But the source code leaks show that the website was running entirely on PHP code that looks like it hasn't been maintained in 13 years as well. There's a lot of vulnerabilities inside of this code, of course using old MySQL functions. So the hacker gained entire access over the PHP admin panel, which is game over. I'll get more into how the hack actually went down, but first I'd like to talk about the collateral damage. Obviously the site has been down ever since, with them 2 days ago making a tweet for the first time in a few years saying, quote, "It takes time," which obviously indicates that they're working to get back up and running. Of course, with the source code being leaked, and the code being very vulnerable, it's going to take some more time to update the code and secure it. And not to mention, I imagine they're going to need to find some new moderators, and even after they all got doxxed, essentially. And these moderators lacked any OPSEC skills. They had emails that exposed their identities, and of course their IP addresses were leaked too. And there's been rumors going around that these email handles had .gov, or governments, American governments, root domains, but this has not actually been confirmed as of yet. But everyone has always speculated 4chan as being a federal honeypot, which would definitely make the theory all the more likely. However, what I do know is that the PHP and outdated MySQL functions were not actually the reason for this attack, like a lot of YouTubers have insinuated on their channels. So this is not as a result of any kind of SQL injection, at least according to the hacker. So there are some boards on 4chan that allow PDFs to be submitted as files. And there was no code written to identify that the submitted file or buffer was indeed a PDF file. So files like PostScript, if you don't know, PostScript is also another kind of Adobe file, which you can also fill with drawing commands. And from there, the submitted payload file was processed by GhostScript, which is used to generate thumbnail images. And this version of GhostScript was as old as the hacker himself, being from 2012, so it's very easy to exploit it. It did it by exploiting a mistaken SUID binary, with the server being run on a old OpenBSD Unix server. And they exploited the binary into giving them global user permissions. So without this user exploit, I doubt this attack would have been achievable through the PHP vulnerabilities, if we were talking about this kind of scale. But if you guys have been keeping up with my channel, you know that I'm a big PHP lover. I actually put out some PHP SQL tutorials in the past. It's just such a very scalable language. I'm not surprised that this PHP website worked for as long as it did. If you look at the original 4chan 2005 setup, it was just a router and like 4 Mac minis for the server. That was about it. And of course, over time it expanded a bit, but the code worked for as long as it did. But with the lack of maintenance and lack of security updates, and with these old PHP functions still being in use, despite the fact that PHP has had several updates throughout the last decade, this breach was bound to happen at one point, sooner or later. And depending on who you are, this might be fortunate or unfortunate. So I'm curious as to what the future for 4chan holds. Is it going to die now, or are they going to fix Yotsuba and make sure it's secure? Those are both possibilities. But given how dated, not going to say outdated, but dated Yotsuba is at this point from the era of 2chan, will they create a new image board altogether, or maybe switch to an existing one? What do you guys think?